Round Britain Quiz with Tom Sutcliffe.
Hello. In the first of this year's Round Britain Quiz, the south of England met the north of England and the scores were even. All to play for today. Adele Gerris and Stuart McConey are back from the north of England and Paul Sinner and Marcus Berkman playing for the south. As in all the programmes in this series, we're all over the place, physically at least, with competitors in Cumbria and Cambridge, North and South London, all connected by technology and a set of wickedly elliptical questions. The teams should be receiving those by email right now, so we'll soon find out whether they're all over the place mentally as well. And if you want to play with the same advantage, you can find all the questions for today's programme on the Round Britain quiz pages on the Radio 4 website under today's date. Before we start this week's game, the answer to the teaser question we left you with last week. I asked where, apart from a zoo, you might expect to see a gorilla with a newspaper, a crab having a tea party, a camel and a cobra changing gear, and a dragon eating a meal. If you are a fan of wrestling, you had a head start with these because these were all clues to wrestling holds. A gorilla press, a Boston crab, a camel and a cobra clutch, and a dragon bite. More details on our website if you'd actually like to try them out on anyone, our producer perhaps, for setting that question in the first place. Anyway, let's start today's contest before too much thinking time has elapsed. This time round, it's Stuart and Adele's turn to kick off with this question. Why might you find it a little tedious to watch Elvis's second movie in Hawaii, Murakami's sixth novel, and The Dam's second single? Why might you find it a little tedious to watch Elvis's second movie in Hawaii, Murakami's sixth novel, and The Dam's second single? I can see you've got bookshelves in the background, but we have you on Zoom, so we can see if you shift your eyes beadily sideways at any point. Don't try anything.
Okay. I mean, it would have to be pretty good to have the Murakami ones in chronological order.
Yes. I'm relying on Stuart to know what The Damned second single is, because I don't.
I'm pretty sure The Damned second single is Neat, 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 which I can remember vividly hearing John Peel play when I was a young teenager, in my middle teens. And the thrill of it remains with me still, like swooping into my life like a hawk into a dovecote, as Ted Hughes once said. And now I think also, I know that one of Elvis's...
One of them is Blue Hawaii.
It is, but I think given the neat
one.
trope, I'm wondering if there's another one. Yet another of his excellent Hawaiian movies. He's called Girls, Girls, Girls. Thinking of the trope of neat, neat, neat. Girls, girls, girls.
So we need a triple Murakami.
And You've got the principle here.
And I think there's a Murakami novel called Dance, Dance, Dance.
There is a Murakami novel called Dance, Dance, Dance.
Is the tedious nature just the
repetition?
The repetition is tedious.
Yeah.
It's just the repetition that's tedious. Yeah, absolutely right. Why might you find it a little tedious to watch Elvis's second movie in Hawaii, Murakami's sixth novel, and The Damned second single? Not because it's a terrible movie. It's because it's called Girls, Girls, Girls. It's a repeat, described by the Los Angeles Times as no better or worse than previous Elvis epics. Rather tartly. You can make of that what you will. Murakami's sixth novel is Dance, Dance, Dance. It was the follow-up to Norwegian Wood. And then finally, The Damned second single was Neat, Neat, Neat. Do you know what the B-side is, Stuart, on that?
Of course he does.
The B-side to Neat,
Of course
Neat,
he
Neat.
does.
The B-side to Neat, Neat, Neat. This is, you don't need to get this. I'm just curious to know whether you know it. Those timeless classics, Stab Your Back and Sing Along a Scabies.
That's right. Stab Your Back, I remember, is very... brevity is the essence of its charm, I think.
Anyway, you had no problems at all with that question. You didn't find it tedious. We didn't find it tedious listening to you do it. So it's 6 points. So, south of England, they've started well. Marcus and Paul, can you do as well? This comes from a listener, Jim Norris. If I asked you for the connection between an umbrella, a wine glass, 2 arrows, and a snowflake, why would it be a loaded question? If I asked you for the connection between an umbrella, a wine glass, 2 arrows, and a snowflake, why would it be a loaded question?
Any thoughts, Marcus?
Very few.
I think these are logos, and I think they might be delivery companies or something. I just don't know what they are.
Ah.
I thought 2 Arrows was something like DHL or FedEx or something like that.
Loaded. Ah, I see. Loaded. So delivery companies.
Yeah.
What's an umbrella? I just don't know. A wine glass.
I mean, you started quite well. You're sort of on the
But we
right
haven't-
track. You haven't got quite to the exactly the right address yet. You're right that these are symbols.
An umbrella, a wine glass, 2 arrows, and a snowflake.
And it's nothing to do with delivery companies or FedEx
Well,
or DHL.
It's not to do with delivery companies, no, but there is a sort of connection. We're not looking for the logos of delivery companies.
Right.
But delivery companies are involved in a way. I think quite a lot of people would have encountered these over the past year or so as home deliveries increased.
Are they
Try-
in forms of things, instructions on packaging for things being delivered? Or
Well, now you're closer. It's time for one of you to do a bit of heavy lifting here, I think, or I'm going to have to give you the answer.
Are they the symbols on the sides of packages? So,
No, but I'm going to have to. You're going
So
to
a wine
have to
glass means-
identify them.
so a wine glass means it's breakable.
yeah.
Fragile.
umbrella-
It's an international
don't get
symbol for
wet.
fragile. Yeah.
Yes, an umbrella means that it can't get wet, and a snowflake means it can't get cold, or maybe it is cold.
no.
Maybe it's
It has to be kept cold.
it has to be kept cold.
Yeah.
Right, and 2 arrows. Does that mean it has to be a particular way up?
Exactly. This way
Yes.
up. Yeah. Probably the most straightforward of them. So
Right.
I asked you for the connection between an umbrella, a wine glass, 2 arrows, and a snowflake. Sounds like a surreal conjunction, but it isn't in any warehouse because you would see them on the packages. The umbrella is a symbol for keeping goods dry. A wine glass, indication that what's inside the box is fragile. 2 arrows gives you this way up, and a snowflake tells you that this whatever's being consigned has to be kept refrigerated. You did struggle a little to deliver right to the door there. You got it to the bottom of the path, I think, and then scarpered, as delivery
As
companies
much as
so
the
often
correct way.
do.
Tricky.
So
tricky
Just
I-
question.
playing safe. I mean, government guidelines.
So I think 4, but and that's a little bit generous, but why not? So, north of England, time for a music question. Listen to these extracts and think about how you'd put them in the correct order.
You say you're looking for someone, and you're burning up inside. I know I'm the only one who can keep you satisfied. March in the corner of the room, the junkyard full with eyes of gloom. I asked him time again, take me in, draw the rain. Take me big in Japan, alright, bathing, I sleep by your side. It's a reason when you're big in Japan. Oh, when you're big in Japan.
So, Stuart and Adele, how would you put those clips in the right order?
Well, I know that the second one is the beta band and Dry the Rain.
It is
so
the beta
that
band.
means that
That means
so
there must be an alpha, maybe.
and I think that last track might be by Alphaville.
Ooh,
It
there's a
is.
thought.
The expression on
Clever.
your face suggested you knew that was by Alphaville.
Well,
You-
do you know
you
what?
look-
Yes, I think I was pretending.
So,
I think I was
Alpha,
pretending not
the-
to in order to maintain some spurious credibility.
So the other one must be gamma?
Well,
Gamma
no,
rays?
the other one, which was really terrible, I thought, it was. Let's try and think. Omega. I'm presuming we're looking for.
Delta.
No, I mean, I'm not going to have you go through the entire Greek alphabet.
No, but I'm
because
just trying to think.
Adele's actually said it already.
Oh, it's gamma.
It is gamma, yeah. She got there by a process of deduction rather than knowledge, I think, but it's gamma. You don't know? Doesn't ring a bell at all?
It's a new one on me.
California rock group of the early 80s.
No, never heard of it.
So what's the correct order?
Well, the correct order then would be Alphaville, the beta band,
Beta,
or the
gamma.
beta band, as the Americans call them, and
Yeah.
then gamma.
Exactly right. You just needed to upend the order we'd given them to you to get them into the right order, because we played you gamma right the first time, the beta band, Dry the Rain, and finally Alphaville, Big in Japan. A couple of those clips were pretty tricky, I think, but the answer's as easy as ABC once you get it, and you did get it. I don't think I can dock any points. That's 6 points to you. So, south of England. One way or another, how would you move from piquing someone's interest to craving a physical sensation? What happens after the engagement to securing part of the wedding outfit, contacting your GP, to tampering with your mobile? One way or another, how would you move from piquing someone's interest to craving a physical sensation? From what happens after the engagement to securing part of the wedding outfit, and from contacting your GP to tampering with your mobile?
Well, I
Have
haven't
you any idea what's going on here, Marcus?
none at all.
I mean, other than the word booking, which could happen after an engagement or contacting your GP.
Oh, there speaks a comedian, fresh from the circuit. There are other kinds of engagement, Paul.
No, I mean, you book. I was thinking of booking a wedding ceremony. That's what I was.
Well, I was thinking engagement as, what happens after the engagement is marrying or wedding, but I don't think it's that kind of engagement. Just no clue at all. Absolutely not.
I think your best place to start here is with the bottom line.
Contacting your GP.
to tampering with your mobile. And just look back at the phrasing of the clue, one way or another.
Was it? Yeah. Was this to do with palindromes?
Oh,
There
or
is
words
a sort of palindromic element to it, yes.
okay. Well, very good.
As in one word is the other backwards.
Yes, I think that must be right.
Not quite, but you will see what I mean when you finally get it, if you finally get it, that there is a palindromic element to it.
Okay.
Contacting your GP. Phoning, booking, ringing.
I know, that's what I'm
That-
thinking.
right. Now,
Different sort of GP?
no.
But I don't understand where the tampering bit comes in.
Well, if you can find... I'm going to give you a big clue now, and you are going to lose some points because of it, but I think you're going to need it. If you can find a word that means both GP and tampering, or connects, a word that connects those two ideas.
Doctoring.
Right,
Now,
okay.
we're closer. So you phoned the doctor.
And you doctor your phone.
Doctor your phone.
You have the principle.
You tie the knot and you knot the tie.
Very good.
And it's annoyingly clever. I was hoping this was going to be rubbish and I could have an excuse for not getting it. Well, actually, this is very good. It's
I have to say that this is a physical sensation that perhaps not everybody would crave entirely. Depends on which way it's administered, I imagine.
Is the word tempt in there somewhere?
No. Does begin with T. I mean, it's a physical sensation some people find unbearable, some people find pleasurable.
Tickle. Yes. Yes, tickling your... to tickle...
Fancy and fancy a tickle.
Yes.
Good Lord, that was difficult.
That's a very hard one.
Very good. Yeah, it was a neat question. One way or another, how would you move from piquing someone's interest, well, you might tickle a fancy, to craving a physical sensation, you would fancy a tickle? What happens after the engagement? You tie the knot, you would move to securing part of the wedding outfit, you would knot the tie, and finally contacting your GP, phone the doctor, changes to doctor the phone. So there were phrases that could be reversed, fairly common phrases that could be reversed. You did struggle with that. I really don't think I can give you more than 3. You got some of the elements once I'd given you the principle, but it's 3 for you, I think, south of England. Now, north of England. How might you be thought to repeat your actions if you used puff pastry to repair itself, removed part of a canine anatomy, or made a connection in space? How might you be thought to repeat your actions if you used puff pastry to repair itself, removed part of a canine anatomy, or made a connection in space?
I think that this is something to do with the word dock. Am I right?
I agree.
I can see two docks.
I can see
I can
three,
see space and the dog, but what about the puff pastry? Is that called docking?
Isn't it, when you push, isn't making little holes in it called docking?
Is it?
It's almost exactly the opposite, Stuart.
It's covering up holes.
It is.
You know, when you've got a gap in the pastry.
I know it's a pastry. I know it's a term in pastry, but I thought it was making little holes into it.
I
to
think
rise
it's
or
when
breathe
when the pastry is rolled out too thin and you have to sort of put another bit over the top.
Oh, is it?
It is that exactly. It's a
professional
bakers use. If you've torn the pastry, putting it into into the casing or into the pie dish, you can repair it by pushing in a little piece of pastry.
Yeah.
So
you dock a dog's tail.
Dock a dog's tail.
And you dock in space, don't
and
you?
You dock
sort
in
of come
space.
Together. Yeah.
That's right. How might you be thought to repeat your actions? Well,
they're all docks.
They're all docks. The other things that get docked are points, but I can't dock you a single point there, I don't think.
When I saw there was a question about canine anatomy, I was terribly worried for a moment.
Yeah, so me too, Stuart.
Yeah, there are other operations.
There are other operations.
It wasn't that one we had in mind.
No.
Well done. That's 6 points for you. So, Marcus and Paul, you have your work cut out to catch the south of England, but you can still do it. It's time for a question with music. Have a listen to these extracts and think about how they might have inspired James Osterberg.
Mr. McCann was a practical man. Curly was his only son, and he loved him like no other can. Be dumb, be dumb, be dumb. He discovered the world in a wonderful girl, though he played with more than one. But he loved her like no other can. Be dumb, be dumb, be dumb.
Came out of nowhere, that don't mean a thing. We rate high, you know why, when you hear us sing. We're greatest band around, it's catch up up and down. We're the talk of Rhythm Town. Five guys named Mo, not one.
So, having heard those extracts, can you think about how they might have inspired James Osterberg?
Yes, James Osterberg is Iggy Pop's real name. But
And Iggy Pop was back with the Stooges.
So he was, and five guys named Mo. Mo is one of the Stooges. I don't know the first two at all.
Well, the second one is Larry, the theme tune to Curb Your Enthusiasm, created and starring Larry David.
Exactly
which
right.
Which leaves us with Curly. So
right.
we have a 60s pop folky sort of thing that I was rather hoping that you'd come in with, Marcus.
No, I don't know that at all. I must admit, it didn't ring any bells when I heard it. Don't remember hearing it before.
Have a guess at what it's called?
Is it called Curly?
It is called Curly, yes. You've got the right name.
Oh, brilliant.
I mean, you were well on your way, I think, once you'd got James Osterberg there.
Yes.
Because you're right, it's the real name of Iggy Pop, who is the lead singer of the Stooges. And those clips were The Move, playing Curly, yeah. Then the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme, which was a clue to Larry David. And then finally, a bit of Five Guys Named Mo, the musical. And you heard the name Mo in that. So we've got the names Curly, Larry and Mo, who are in fact the Three Stooges. And I think Iggy Pop was inspired by the Three Stooges. I mean, that's where he got the name from. So I'm not sure that I can dock any points from you either. You go undocked as the North did, I think, for that. I mean, you didn't quite know what the moves clip was, but you got all the elements, so it's 6 points for you too. So, North of England. If Mitchell's were skeletal, McCullers was lacking in crucial moving parts, and Nolan's stared down at him, how many did Thurber have? If Mitchell's were skeletal, McCullers were lacking in crucial moving parts, and Nolan's stared down at him, how many did Thurber have?
Well,
Adele's
David
looking.
Mitchell wrote a book called Bone Clocks. So I think we're dealing with clocks.
And James Thurber has a
The-
book called The 13 Clocks.
13 Clocks, and Carson McCullers had a book called Clock Without Hands. So I'm betting that the Nolan might be Sidney Nolan.
It isn't Sidney Nolan, no.
So
that
we're saying
case-
clocks then, Adele, are we?
Clocks is the
Yes.
thingamy-bob.
And what
but-
were you saying that I don't know the Carson McCullers? Is
Carson
that
McCullers wrote a novel called Clock Without Hands.
Okay, so Nolan then.
It's Nolan. Do we know any Nolans
Yes,
who
there's
aren't?
the Christopher Nolan, the film director.
Ah,
Is that what we need to think?
did he have a clock staring down at him? No, it must be a hero of some kind.
You've got the right name, but the wrong profession there, Stuart.
Oh, I've got the right name as in Nolan. It's not a film director.
Not
Sorry.
film director. No,
Right, he's not a film director.
it's
not a
Christopher
film
Nolan.
director. These are all literary works, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I am not familiar with a writer called Christopher Nolan.
They stared down at him. The high clocks, the tower clock.
Yeah, you've got the idea, but you're reaching
Clock
a little
on a
here,
ladder.
and you're not quite touching. I think I might have to give you this one. It's an Irish writer with disabilities who won the Whitbread in 1987.
My
with
left
this.
foot.
No, it's not My Left Foot. No, it was ostensibly a biography of Christopher Nolan by a fictional narrator. I don't know whether that rings a bell at all. No,
Yeah, no, I remember the book, but I've forgotten
No.
the title.
it was called Under the Eye of the Clock.
No,
it's
I
a
would
new
never
one.
have got that. No.
So you started pretty well. If Mitchell's were skeletal, you got The Bone Clocks, David Mitchell's 2014 novel. McCullers was lacking in crucial moving parts. That's because it was a clock without hands. And Nolan's stared down at him. That was Under the Eye of the Clock, the autobiography of the Irish writer with disabilities, Christopher Nolan. He had to actually write using a pointer attached to his forehead to press the keys, and his mother, Bernadette, sat with him while he wrote, steadying his head to help him. That book won the Whitbread Book of the Year award in 1987. And finally, how many did Thurber have? You got that very quickly, 13 clocks. So you did so well on that, but just tripped up at the last moment.
We just didn't know Christopher Nolan.
You just didn't know Christopher Nolan, and I'm afraid I think probably I can only give you 4 for that because you were missing one element of it. So, south of England, your final question. Why and where might you encounter the Iron Chancellor, Constantine's mother, Saul of Tarsus, and Manet's reclining nude near the border feeling capital? And which of them might be best placed to go over and meet the Queen? Why and where might you encounter the Iron Chancellor, Constantine's mother, Saul of Tarsus, and Manet's reclining nude near the border, feeling capital? And which of them might be best placed to go over and meet the Queen?
I've got all of this, Marcus. Do you want?
Well, I've got the first half. I don't have the second half. I mean, we're talking state capitals of
Do you
American
want to go
states.
first half then?
I'll do the first half, and then you carry
Okay.
on. So the Iron Chancellor is Bismarck. Constantine's mother is Helena. Saul of Tarsus became St. Paul. And Manet's reclining nude is Olympia.
Right. You've got
I'd agree
all of
with
the
all of that.
elements here. Now, do you know which state?
Well, I'm sure Paul will be able to help. I'm not Mr. US state capitals, but he certainly is.
Well, the border is Canada. There's all these 4 states border Canada, and they are North Dakota, Minnesota, Washington.
Which is which?
Oh, Bismarck, North Dakota, Helena,
Yep.
Montana,
Yeah.
St. Paul, Minnesota, and Olympia, Washington.
Oh, yes,
Absolutely right. Now, I think
And
the
there's
producer...
actually two different answers.
Why?
Well, the Queen could be Victoria, the capital of British Columbia, or it could be Regina, the capital of Saskatchewan.
Well,
So there's actually Olympia, which is the state capital of Washington, will be quite near Victoria in British Columbia. And Helena, which is...
we had Regina down, and the producer and I had both agreed that actually we wouldn't absolutely demand that you got the closest.
Well, I
on
think
that,
Montana
but-
is borders Saskatchewan, and so I'd say Helena and St. Paul border Saskatchewan, and Olympia, Washington borders British Columbia, whose capital is Victoria.
You missed it. It's actually Bismarck is going to be
Oh,
the
is it?
closest to Regina, but you have alerted us to an ambiguity in the answer to this. So I am, for one, I'm not going to penalise you at all. So why and where might you encounter the Iron Chancellor? The Iron Chancellor is Bismarck. Constantine's mother was Helena. Saul of Tarsus was St. Paul. Mane's reclining nude was Olympia. Those are the names of the state capitals of North Dakota, Montana, Minnesota, and Washington State. Best place to go over and meet the Queen? Well, in our case, we said Bismarck because that's the closest to Regina, but you make the point that they could also go over to meet Victoria. I'm not going to dock a single point for that. You did it beautifully. 6 points to you. If we could give you 7 points, south of England, we might. But sadly, you're just going to have to make do with the fact that there's a sort of spiritual bonus there for getting the extra one. Even if we'd given you that magical extra point, bonus point there, you wouldn't have pulled even because the scores are now 22 points to the north of England and 19 points to the south of England. So Stuart and Adele are winners. Well done to both of you. Those teams are going to play one more fixture before the end of the series against different opponents. Next time, Northern Ireland play the Welsh, for which I hope you'll join us. And have a think about this puzzle, which is going to be on our web pages for the intervening week. I'll give you the solution at the beginning of the next edition. In what way did a Blue Peter pet, a bodyguard called Bullion, and Kate Hudson's mum all get their chance to shine? You can see that question on our website. And I'll give you the answer next time. Until then, goodbye.